Welcome everyone to Finds of Yesterday. I'm Lynn and I'm talking a little bit different of a subject matter today. I've been searching for an antique jewelry necklace and I've been having problems trying to find this on the eBay algorithm. It sends all kinds of listings to me and it's not what I'm looking for. So I started going down a rabbit hole of looking for this type of thing and realized there is so many wrong listings out there. People keyword spam quite a bit. It's either that or they just don't know the true understanding of certain words like antique. And I don't mean any disrespect to these people. I just feel like they need to be educated a little bit on what's antique, what's vintage, and learning that will help you sell your items better. And the ones I'm finding are not antique pieces, and we're going to go through some of these listings and just see what they look like. So, for example, antique is 100 years old and vintage is considered 20 years old. So we're in 2025. So obviously 1925 or earlier is considered antique. So we're talking the Art Deco period. So I'm going to pull different listings and we're just going to take a look here. This first one, if I can get it to stop, this first one, they have it listed as antique jewelry lot. And it's grandma's pearls, and they may be grandma's pearls, but they're probably from the 50s or 60s. This necklace right here is got a lobster claw clasp, and it is a modern style, so it's probably from the 90s to 2000s. There's some earrings and some rings here, and these are all probably there's clip-on ones, probably from the 60s, and these rings are kind of hard to see. So they look to me like they're probably from the 60s, and this clip-on enamel one's probably from the 60s. These are probably from the 60s, these red rhinestone ones. This is definitely not an antique jewelry lot. Here's another one. It's called Antique Jewelry Brooch Rhinestone, some silver, some gold plate. It's a lot of 36 pieces. If you look around here, I was scrolling for one antique piece, and the closest one I could find was maybe this rhinestone brooch here that looks like it might be from the 40s. Everything else here, this is 60s, this is probably 70s, 80s. This one is modern. It's probably 80s, I would say, 70s, 80s. This one is a little bit older, maybe 50s, 60s. Most of these are 70s, maybe even 80s. This is a pretty insect brooch, and that one's probably from the 80s, I'm going to guess. Now, I'm not an expert at all of this, but I do know different time frames approximately, so I can give you a good idea of when it's from, but not an exact. There are a lot of determinations in this. Like, thing I look at is the clasp, the style of chain, the pendants, just the style in general. This is probably a 70s necklace. It has a fold-over clasp. And this one says, lot of antique costume jewelry. Nice. Okay, so this one has a lobster claw clasp. This is probably from 90s, 2000s. These right here are probably 1980s, maybe 90s. And this one, not really sure. This one could vary. It's got a fold-over clasp. It could be from the 70s, but these are definitely not antiques. This next one, these are all from like the 50s, 60s. It's pretty typical style from that time frame. And here it says antique jewelry lot. Definitely not. One's a coral craft. It might be a little bit earlier. You can look at the back side, and that usually helps determine the age as well. This one is probably 70s. There's one that's Austria. I think that says Austria. That's on the leaf. So that might be a little bit earlier, but still not antique. Maybe that's the earrings. Yeah, it's this one. So these earrings are probably the oldest. Whoops. I'll go back. All right, so anyway, they're not antiques. This one, huge vintage and antique Christmas jewelry. What in the world in here is antique? Can anybody tell me? As I sure can't tell. I'd even say 2000s. Probably from the 1970s to today. This one, a lot of 12 antique and old jewelry items. Let's see what we got here. We got a lobster claw clasp on the silver chain. That's probably from the 90s to 2000s, late 90s, 2000s. This is kind of a nice little mesh chain. That's probably from, I don't know, the 50s, 60s, maybe 70s, probably 70s. Then we have these hoop earrings. They're 70s, 80s, 90s. This is another lobster claw clasp. This is probably 2000s. This seed bead looks new, like almost like somebody handmade it. This one might have a little bit of age to it, like maybe 70s. So we are definitely not in the 1920s and earlier in this lot. They are not antique. Then we have a lot of antique jewelry with the jewelry box. Okay, so this jewelry box, does that tell you it's 1920s? And did all of this actually come in that? Let's take a look at some of these. So this is a typical 1950s, 60s. This looks like 50s, 60s with that box clasp. That's pretty common. This one, I don't know, probably 50s, 60s, 70s. What do we have here? Little heart. This is probably the oldest piece in this lot. Maybe 40s. This looks a little bit older. There are some pieces in here that are a little bit older, but majority of this is 50s and 60s, maybe some 40s. Still not 1920s. Still not what I would be looking for if I was looking for a 1910 necklace and a 1900 necklace. And this here is called Antique Jewelry Lot, signed Coro. That alone right there says it's not a 1900s necklace. 1920s? No. It's probably from the 1940s to the 1960s at the latest. Antique Jewelry Lot. Do you see an antique in here? Definitely not. What's this? It's probably 1950s, 60s, 70s. Could be 70s. This might be 50s, 60s. And another one, Antique Jewelry Lot. This piece is interesting, but we can't see the back. I have no idea what it looks like on the back. I would guess 50s, 60s. This is maybe even 70s, because this watch looks like 70s. This brooch is probably 70s. This ring looks newer, like when I say newer, 1980s to 2000s. Definitely not an antique jewelry lot. We have another one here. Antiques. 70s, 80s, 70s, 80s, 70s, 80s. This necklace is 70s, 80s. 70s, 80s. This has got a little bit older box clasp on it. Let's see if we can find a picture up close of that one. Nope, we sure can't. So it shows this type of a clasp is still probably the 60s. It's a push lock. It's not an antique lot. This one kind of cracks me up. It says antique yellow golden amber jewelry lot, full of necklaces. This one is probably from 2010, somewhere in the 2000s to 2020s, maybe 2015s. There's a moon glow bracelet. That might be a little bit earlier, and this one might be a little bit earlier, this rhinestone one. When I say that, maybe the 70s. And this, I don't know, probably 80s, 70s, 80s. And it's not even close to being antique. Now this one, I just kind of want to go through a couple of these quickly. No antiques in here. Nothing in here has age to it. If it was fine jewelry, it might be in really good shape, but not this good. It's not 1900 to 1920 jewelry is not going to look this good unless it was fine jewelry and kept up really well. This is just typical modern stuff. Maybe 1970s to modern. As well as this one. We got all kinds of lobster clasps. All this is modern. Modern, modern, modern. And it says Vintage Antique Estate Jewelry Lot. So did the last one. This one says Vintage Antique to Now Estate Jewelry Lot. So this is all modern. Modern, modern. Maybe 80s. Modern, modern. This might be a little bit older, like 90s. This one's probably 90s to 2000s. It's not antique. And another one there's the same seller that just lists all their stuff as antiques. It drives me nuts because none of them are antiques. Here is another one, a lot of antique. These are older, cheaper quality pieces, so that doesn't necessarily make them antique. This is a boho. There's a lot of boho style in here, so we're talking 70s. Yeah, nothing in here is antique. There's a paper rolled one that's just an ethnic necklace, I would call it. It's not necessarily old. Vintage antique plastic beads. No, they're not. They're not from the 20s. There's some cool ones, like this white one's pretty cool. It's older. But we're still later than the 20s. I would say most of these are 60s, 1960s. And we have some rings. Let's look at these closer. Modern, like 70s, 80s. What's this one? 2020s. 2020s, 2020s, maybe 2000s. Who knows? Somewhere in the 2020s. Yeah, none of these are antique, sorry to say. And then we have another one that is all 70s, 80s, modern. Might be lucky. This one right here might be 60s, 70s. But we're still not in the antique category. Here's another one. Antique Jewelry Lot A. Might have came out of Grandma's jewelry box, but it's still not an antique. Grandma wasn't antique. She was just vintage. These could be totally vintage. This is 1980s, because 1980s falls in the vintage category. These almost look sterling, but these three almost look sterling. But these all could be 1980s, 1970s. So this is the first lot. It says antique Victorian and modern jewelry. So they covered every aspect, like from the 1890s all the way up to the 2025. So they're covering every aspect, which, I mean, We got an old one here that looks like it could be antique, could be from this one's hard for me to put an age on. I just know it's old. Like that one I would call an antique. It's pretty cool looking. This one looks like a monocraft one, almost like Coro's monogrammed brooches, which could be from like the 1920s, 1930s. This one is hard to see. It's hard to determine the age on that one. This one's a typical 1950s, 1960s brooch. This bracelet is a spring ring. Sometimes you can tell if it's really old, if it has that older spring ring clasp on, and this does not. So it's probably 1920s, 1930s. So I would kind of agree that this lot is, here, let's look at the back of this brooch. So this is an older one because it has a, like the older safety clasp. So this folds different than the roll clasp, and that's about the 1920s. Looks like it's possibly signed too, unless that's a scratch. Yeah, and this has a little thumb tab. If it doesn't have the thumb tab on the spring ring, then it's older. And here's the lovely spring. I love this one. I love old stuff like this. And this little heart, I don't quite know what it is. It's a broken piece. Maybe it's a little pendant. That could be older too, but it's kind of hard to tell. Oh, let's go to the top of this one. This is another one that is a good example that you could use the word antique for. So these filigree pieces were popular in the Edwardian period and in the 1920s. This piece kind of looks like plastic. You have to turn it around to see. This has got a C clasp, which was popular in the 20s. So that is a good possibility it's older. This one has these pave rhinestones that are glued in, and a lot of times they did the glued in the 30s and 40s, and then they started using prong set ones, and it just depends. Every company was a little bit different in how they made their items, but I wanted to show you the back. This is a newer spring ring clasp and newer hinge. So this one is from later time frame from the 1930s. Could be any time beyond that, maybe 40s. And this one is, this has got that, looks like the safety clasp on it as well. So this could be from the 20s. So I agree this one could pass for a antique lot. And I have one more for you. This one is 11 pieces of rolled gold and metal antique stick pins. This is another good example of an antique lot. So you see a lot of the cone shaped. You see them in the 50s and 60s, but you also see them in the 20s, around that early Victorian up to the 20s period too. This bracelet is really cool. I love this. This is definitely older. Look at that filigree pattern on it. Which, here we go. We got a better picture here. It looks like an older hinge on it. So this is definitely an older piece. And here's the back of some of these other brooches. They have, they have a C clasp. So that's probably 1920s. This one has a safety pin clasp. That was from 1920s as well, 1930s. This one has another C clasp. This one's interesting too. It looks like an old mandolin or guitar and has a C clasp. Let's go to look at the stick pins. Stick pins are older. This just passes for a 1920s to me. Kind of an Art Deco time frame. I do agree that this is antique. So as you can see, there are a lot of mislabeled lots out there. And I hope you can get an idea if you're ever looking for true antiques of what to look for, but a lot of the items that people are making available as antique are not. Just be aware of that. And if you're doing listings as well yourself, make sure you label it correctly. The vintage time period is much longer than the antique. We don't hardly ever find pieces from antiques, the antique time period, which was 1920s or before. It's a lot harder to find them, I should say, as compared to vintage. You're much safer using vintage, but just be aware of the difference between vintage and modern so that you're labeling your things correctly, and it will help with the eBay algorithm so that people can actually find what they're really looking for. So again, I'm not doing this out of disrespect for these people that are listing these things. I just want them to be aware that this is it's an issue for buyers. So any comments, remarks, I'd be happy to hear. Again, if I got any of these ages wrong, I apologize, but this is from my research and my knowledge from doing this for 6 years, which isn't real long. The collectors out there will know better, and I'm open to hearing your comments, and hopefully you learned something from this video and you can list better. And I am improving my listings all the time. I'm learning as well from day to day. Things change from day to day for me, so I probably have some things listed incorrectly as well. So I'm not 100% perfect, but I just want people to be more aware of what they're listing. All right, thank you for joining me. Thank you for spending this whole time with me, and I hope that you have a great weekend, and we will see you on the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe.